I call the regular meeting of the Nevada City Council to order Monday, August 14th, 2023 at 6:00 PM. Can we get a roll call, please?
Brian Hanson,
Here.
Barb Mittman, here, Dane Nielsen,
Here.
Jason Sampson,
Here.
Steve Skaggs,
Here.
Sandy Eric.
First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Move to approve.
Second.
Dane, Sandy. No discussion, council, please vote. That is approved. Takes us to consent agenda. Any item may be removed for separate consideration.
Move to approve.
Second. Barb, Brian. Notice. Oh, Steve.
Steve.
Oh. Okay, Barb, Steve.
Yeah.
Okay. My hearing today, I guess. Any discussion? Seeing none, council, please vote.
I'm sorry. I do have a little question, not that it matters. The eminent domain thing, since we're part of that, is there anything that you have to do or we have to do?
No, so I had advised Jordan and Karen that they have to provide us notice because we have an interest in the property, but it's not removing the easement that the city currently has.
Okay.
So the question was, should we go to that hearing? I don't think there's any reason
Okay.
for us to go to that hearing.
Okay.
So if
Alright.
they're trying to eliminate our easement, we would get a different type of notice.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Okay, and next up is mayor's appointments. There are 4 of them. And when we get to you, if you're here, if you can either wave or stand up so that council can see who's here would be good. So we have an appointment for planning and zoning, Carla Smelfinning. We have planning and zoning, Ryan Condon. Library board, Emily Fulton. And board of adjustment, Carrie Martin. Council, we do have a couple of the folks here if you have anything for them. Otherwise, take a motion to approve appointments.
Move to approve.
Second. Jason. And who was that over here? Was Steve? Okay, making sure. Any discussion?
Thank you for those who came and thanks for serving.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for your time. Seeing no other discussion, council, please vote. It is approved, which takes us to the public forum, which is time set aside for comments from the public on topics of city business other than those listed on the agenda. No action may be taken. Please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. First, we have a presentation from Micah by Clarissa Thompson.
Hello, thank you for the time to share more about Micah. I'm Clarissa Thompson, excuse me, and I'm the executive director. I just want to, excuse me, Micah and I work with partnerships with Nevada and the Story County families. We are thankful for the support of the city of Nevada has provided Micah and appreciate the opportunity to share tonight about our work supporting and assisting Nevada children and families. I will share a very brief introduction about community action, poverty, some data, a snapshot of individuals and families served in services. Again, as a brief overview, I will not take more than 5 minutes. Minnesota Community Action was established in 1965 as a part of President Lyndon Johnson's Economic Opportunity Act as a war on poverty. Across the country, there are over 1,000 community action agencies, and there are 16 community action agencies in Iowa, all designed to serve children and families and communities. We're all locally designed and focused on helping people change their lives. Poverty is a very deep and complex issue that will most likely affect over half of Americans during their adult lives. Micah is helping families affected by these conditions of poverty meet their needs, build their strengths, and achieve their goals. Micah cares about the entire community and our values of compassion, advocacy, equity, and service guide our work every day. Our service area covers the counties of Hardin, Marshall, Poweshiek, Tama, and Story counties. And from the period of October 1st of 2021 to September 30th of 2022, Micah served over 18,000 individuals in our service area. That's actually more than what Wells Fargo Arena can hold. So here locally, though, in Nevada, currently we are assisting 928 individuals and 316 families. The most recent census data shares that Nevada's poverty rate is 10.5%, or roughly 729 individuals in Nevada. As for Story County, that rate's a little bit higher at 20.5%, or around 20,000 people, compared to the state of Iowa average of 11.1%. Keep in mind, this number uses the federal poverty measure for this data point. What I can share is that a family of 4 would earn less than $30,000 a year, or $14.42 per hour for a full-time worker to be counted as in poverty. Data shows that in Story County, a household with 2 adults working and 2 children require an annual income of over $69,000 just to meet their basic needs. That means that both adults each must earn at least $16.74 an hour. Across Iowa, 1 in 7 individuals are not able to consistently make their ends meet. The basic needs budget covers what it takes to survive rather than thrive: rent, utilities, food, healthcare, childcare, clothing, household expenses, and transportation. That's it. No budget for school field trips, emergencies, savings, or other items that we would classify as basic needs. But Micah works to bridge the gap between what households earn and meeting their needs. Those needs vary by community and depend on each family and their individual situation, alongside what's available in community. Our work focuses in the space of health, early child education, and family development, and these are our pillars to helping support and build capacity towards self-sufficiency. And our work also works to address the issues to bring awareness and understanding and change. Most of our programs at Micah require some type of eligibility based on income poverty thresholds. And in order to provide support to those in Nevada working to make ends meet. For example, our energy assistant program for a family of 4, they would need to earn less than $52,000 versus that 100% poverty rate that I talked about, which was $30,000. And for our Head Start program, a family of 4 would need to earn less than $39,000 to qualify. A small example of complexities that our agency and the families we serve have to maneuver to prove and meet goals and to change their lives. We offer a variety of services based in Ames, but I'm really excited to talk about some direct services that we provide here locally in Nevada. We have a Head Start classroom, which is a preschool classroom for 16 children that is co-located at the Nevada Community School District. And also our health team travels once a month to Nevada to provide the provision of WIC and child and adolescent health services. And we also have a childcare health consultant, which is a registered nurse, who is able to do visits with Nevada childcare providers to increase their health and safety of their childcare homes. Our work is complex and robust, and we are guided by community needs, strategic plans, and organizational standards, grant requirements, and a mission, vision, and value of just a few examples. And we're in the preliminary stages of a community needs assessment. And the top 5 needs we're hearing from Story County families include childcare access, access to basic needs like food and utilities, helping with budgeting to address high debt. And many of those folks are working jobs that are not consistently earning high pay, and mental health access and high stress. Many families lost or experienced negative effects during the pandemic that are still unaddressed. And to put some of these needs in perspective, this year our utilities request for energy assistance, agency-wide, we saw an increase of 1,000 applications. And also, we also know that the food increased prices has been estimated over 9% from last year for us all. And throughout our 5-county service area, food insecurity was identified as the top need amongst all of our families. And that's the first time that we've seen this data point in 11 years. And it's times like these that we see firsthand those economic pressures that most likely hit those with least first. And lastly, to sum up my time, I'd like to share a success story of the work that was done locally with a child and their family that participated in the Head Start classroom from Nevada. This child who began our classroom was struggling with very challenging behaviors at the beginning of the year. At times, these challenging behaviors were aggressive towards teachers and other children in the classroom. The teachers, coach, supervisors, parents, and the AEA met frequently throughout the year to develop intervention plans that included using social stories about appropriate behaviors, deep breathing, and calming activities. After consistently implementing these strategies, the challenging behaviors began to decrease. And at the end of the school year, the behaviors were very rare and dramatically less aggressive. This child was now ready for school to start off his future learning. I appreciate the time as we are here to help families in Nevada, and we appreciate the time that you've given us tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Council, anything for Clarissa? You will move to Kathy Vincent about fireworks. Oh, you planned it that way.
I'm here on behalf of the American Legion Auxiliary, and I need to look at my cheat sheet, so pardon me for the other people that donated to us, but we collected money for the fireworks fund. We are transitioning. In the past, we would solicit businesses and other organizations in town, and what we found this past year is we're hitting a lot of the same people back to back to back, now that we have the Pipalooza and some of the bigger events that are all kind of in a row. And so as an organization, we decided that from this coming year forward, we're just going to have one big fundraiser and mark that that's going to the fireworks. So our root beer floats that we do on the 4th of July, each year we're planning to just give those proceeds towards the fireworks fund to be a little more efficient. But this year I have a check to present to the city for $1,382.09. And we had On Track Construction, Longview Farms, and you're gonna put me on the spot to think of who all of them were. And some other businesses that contributed to that. That included our contribution from our agency and also Key Cooperative. There's my other one. I got it. They donated as well. And then this year's root beer floats were included in that. So $1,382.09. So you can't.
Marla, who's gonna make us take a photo? I see your back there.
Your hair looks better than mine, Brad. Looks good. All right, here you go.
Thanks, Kathy. Okay, and there's two proclamations in your packet, one for National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day, the other for Water and Wastewater Workers Week. Obviously, both of those are important, and Marlis will do some promotion on social media, but copies are in your packets. And in the interest of time, I won't read them all to you. So we'll keep going through the next public forum. We have Main Street, Nevada, and Joe Wickman.
Hello. We are going to be applying for another challenge grant through Main Street, Iowa. As we have in the past, we've had great success in the past. We've won several. So our fingers are crossed for another one. This one we will be applying for is to help the Masonic Temple building with some major facade work. They are located on the intersection of 6th and J Avenue, just as you're coming to downtown from the south. We're pretty sure it's the oldest building in downtown, so we're super excited to give it a little facelift and help the Masons out with that building. They've owned it for a really long time. So in order to have a strong application, we do have to show the city's support. In the past, we've asked for a 20% match or $20,000, which would be the same amount we're asking for again this year. We're asking for $100,000 from the grant, so 20% would be 20,000. Joe, do you want to talk anything about the building, or do you guys have
So-
questions for them?
So to kind of give you a really brief rundown of the project, so we distributed some renderings from Main Street, Iowa of kind of what the concept we're going for is. So really the largest scale of our project is a facade update to the front, the Sixth Street side and the J Avenue side, with most of the work being on the Sixth Street side. So the goal is to put the front of the building back to what it would have looked like in 1877 when the building was built, but with energy efficient materials. Also being ADA accessible for both storefronts as well. So we're looking at new windows, new storefronts for both of the stores downstairs, updates there. And then on the J Avenue side, because that's stuccoed off, we're going to paint that to a brick color to kind of give it that original look to what it would have had back in 1877. That's the biggest chunk of our project. We've got a lot of other kind of goals along with that, with some updates to our second floor where the Masonic Lodge lives. But those are kind of smaller scale. So what we're really looking to do with this grant is kick off our facade remodel. Dad?
We've never let our building go to waste. We have very well taken care of this building over the several years. In the past 15 years, we put $100,000 back in sidewalls, roof, other structures. So far, the engineers that have come in and looked at the building, it is very structurally sound. So we're not dealing with anything internally we have any problems with. And we are constantly and continually taking care of it on the exterior as well. It's kind of our, what do I want to say, our anchor in the town that we come to. I mean, 1877 is when it started. We moved in
1911, 1912. So we've owned the building since 1911, 1912. Not very often that you can say the same entity has owned a building for that long, so that's pretty cool.
And if you haven't been in our lodge room, we welcome you to come look. It's
That's pretty cool. We actually had 3 applicants for this grant this year. My understanding is that's the first time we've ever had more than one building owner apply. So we went through a whole process, and we're really happy to support the Masons and help hopefully get their building a little kickstart to get the work done. So we would love the city's support as we're applying for that grant. We should know in November if we win or not. So we'd be looking for $20,000 from the city for support for that.
Okay, so we'll be getting some action item back.
Yep, so with your guidance, what I will plan on doing is talking to Aaron and getting a resolution, of support for that project of the 20%. If that's the route you guys want to take.
Heads nodding.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so next we have Ben.
Ben Du Bois, 1125 6th Street. And I wasn't at the last meeting. I know this was discussed there about the drainage in the alley, specifically the roof drains just across the street here behind 6th Street between K Avenue and Lincoln Way. There was some discussion, and there was a motion which I believe was approved. Can you confirm that? Did I understand? I wasn't here, but I tried to watch some of the video of that.
Yeah, so we addressed one building in particular. I know Jordan has a report about more that has been discovered since that they've dug into it. So want to provide update now, or we wait till reports and go through it all, but yeah, so it was Andy's building in particular that we knew about. And so council did have a motion to start working on that, but we know there's a bigger problem that needs to be done at the same time.
Okay. So, and I can wait and see. I had a brief conversation with Ryan earlier. I know that there's a little more that's happened since then. And so maybe some of my concerns will be addressed there. But I guess the one thing I'd like to bring up now is just, however this turns out, and maybe we don't know that yet, but, I don't know. I don't know why everything isn't working now, if it's a result of the work that was done not being done properly or what it was. But there was, the discussion last time was to, pay On-Track come back and do additional work. I would simply like to suggest that if On-Track, if it's found and determined that On-Track didn't do the work properly, and this was brought up, Brian brought it up, and it was mentioned there, that if they didn't do the work properly, that the taxpayers in Nevada probably shouldn't be paying them to fix the work that wasn't done properly the first time. So, and I would probably suggest that also any damage that was done because of that should not be the responsibility of anybody other than who caused the damage, whether whatever that cause was. So that's really all I want to say for now, because I'll wait until there's more information presented.
Council, do you have anything for Ben for now? Otherwise, Jordan will have, and Brian and whoever else will have a report and reports.
I know I've seen something about your building, so I think it's something that's gonna be addressed tonight.
I guess I will add that when that work was being done, I did go back into the alley and I did talk to the workers that were doing the work. And at that time, we could see the end of my roof drain coming out there, and I did confirm with them that they would be reconnecting that. So don't know whether that was done or not. I do know that my roof drain is not flowing. I've been in that building for 4.5 years, and I've never had water in the basement until this year. And now every time it rains, I get a pretty fair amount of water in the basement. Last time when it was last heavy rain we had, I did go out and have a look, and the water is backing up in my roof drain and spilling out everywhere. It's also actually coming up from underground. So there's definitely a problem with it.
That's good to know. I think that was new information too, that you showed them the disconnected roof drain.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, Ben. Is there anyone else here to speak in the public forum? Louis?
If you probably know what my question is, like, I was still one of them, I'm gonna get a dump place here in town as soon as possible.
I don't have any new updates since last month, Louis.
Is anybody working on it, or?
Yeah, Louis, we really, what we're trying to figure out is a location. Right now, we don't have a location because the previous location that we were using is now being occupied by our lift station. So we're unable to utilize that location again. So currently, right now, we do not have a location within city limits that would be usable for that space or for that use.
We're hoping the future will get a place, right?
We're trying to, we'd like to, yes. We're trying to figure out locations that would be feasible, but we don't, like I said, we don't have a location right now because the location we were using is being occupied by the lift station. And we're not able to utilize it as a dump site anymore after that lift station is built.
On S14th Street, I know they've been working on that for a while. They've been having good weather to get it done. So would you think probably next month, half of next month, they'll be done with that?
Are you referring to the DOT project or the?
It was a DOT, but it's on S14th Street. You go toward Woolman.
Oh, the north side. I'll let Ryan touch on that a little bit. He probably has some more updated information on that. But Ryan would be able to answer your question for that.
Okay, so we talked about it and stuff, and they said they ran into some problems and stuff, but have to take a little bit longer to do it and stuff, and then okay, as a contractor said, you was 5 years behind, contracting 5 years behind doing the streets and stuff. So hopefully Second Street we get done before this year, before the snow falls.
Second Street? No.
So we would have to go through the planning process, which is something that we are doing. I was on the phone with Brandon last Thursday or Friday, talking with him about, Brandon is HR Green, one of our engineers. I was on the phone with him last week discussing our CIP plan, our capital improvements plan, on what streets we want to update and add in there. So when Joe gets back from vacation, we will be sitting down and going through our capital improvements plan so we can work on the streets and update that, so we can let everybody know what streets we plan on renovating or updating this next year.
So let's say like, they should get 2 streets done a year at least.
Yep, that's typically what we plan on doing, is 2 to 3. And so with this year, we're planning on doing parts of Lincoln Highway, but with other parts of the community that are a little bit more dilapidated, we want to try to get those taken care of before. So we're trying to work through that, and we're working with Joe and Brandon so we can come up with a good plan and maximize the streets.
Well, Second Street's terrible, right between Big 8 and Big 8 Tire Center and Ace Hardware, because that street's terrible. And that should be done pretty quick. And then the parking lot create at Ace Hardware, I see that they tried to patch it 2 times. And that's terrible too. That should be torn up and completely redone. And it's still plan to use concrete, right?
It really depends. If it's a street that has asphalt on it, we'll probably do a 2-inch overlay. We'll mill it down and then we'll probably do an asphalt overlay on it.
Well, concrete will last longer than a long one. It's the same price, but you guys told me before, it's the same price. And concrete lasts longer than the long one. Don't you think?
It really depends on the road and what's under the road with the infrastructure and the way the base is. And so there's a lot of factors that go into the cost, but what you're referring to, the overall cost for HMA and concrete is relatively close, yes.
Yeah, they're both the same price.
But there's also a lot of underlying factors that play a role in the cost.
The concrete lasts longer than a long one, and then asphalt does.
If it's done from scratch.
If it's done correctly, yes.
But it should be good to concrete, so that's longer than a long one. It's correct, pretty down.
Is there anyone else here to speak in the public forum? Seeing none, we'll close the public forum, move to old business A, approve pay request number 26 for wastewater treatment facility improvements phase 2 from Williams Brothers Construction Incorporated in the amount of $1,031,065.03.
Approve.
Dane, Jason. Council, please vote. That is approved. Takes us to B, approved pay request number 16 for wastewater treatment facility improvements phase 3 from Boomerang Corporation in the amount of $75,572.50.
Move to approve. Second.
Brian. No discussion. Council, please vote. Approved. Takes us to C, approved pay request number 11 for wastewater treatment facility improvements phase 4 from On Track Construction LLC in the amount of $27,202.30.
Move to approve.
Okay.
Jason, Barb. No discussion. Council, please vote. Approved. Takes us to D, approved pay request number 6 for 2022 street improvement project from Manats Incorporated in the amount of $66,607.32.
Move to approve.
Second.
Dane. Discussion. Council, please vote. That's approved. Takes us to E, approved pay request number 13 for the field house from HPC LLC in the amount of $210,330.95. 330.95.
Move to approve.
And Barb. No discussion, council, please vote. Approved. Which takes us to approve various owner purchases for field house project, and Rhonda's on her way up to provide any info or answer any questions.
Well, first of all, this is exciting that we're finally getting to putting some of the finishing touches on the field house project with these owner purchase items. So we wanted to bring these to you tonight for some approval. So that way we can move forward with the ordering of these, getting some stuff here, and then hopefully be moving this stuff in to the field house. We're currently looking probably at the first part of November and getting some of this, but I got to put on my old person glasses to be able to see anymore, but so we're looking at tip and roll bleachers. These sets will be completely movable and we'll be able to move them wherever we need to along throughout the field house. It just all depends on what's going on at what time. There'll be some nice locations that we picked out, so we think that 6 sets will do us well. From a security standpoint, we've been working with Astra Security throughout the city, and this is going to be a huge portion of our owner purchase, obviously at the cost from Astra, but that will allow us from a security standpoint with camera system, and then also fob entry as well. And then batting cage equipment. I think that the batting cage equipment is going to be necessary for the use and function of that portion of the field house. We're looking at those being highly sought after, and you got to have the proper equipment there. Between what we're looking at ordering here, along with what we currently have, I think we'll have some really nice amenities for our community to utilize, both youth through adult, to work on pitching, hitting, all of that. And then the playground turf, we did know that this was going to be an additional cost just for fall height protection. We were hopeful that we would be able to work through our flooring company to get this resolved. However, we were able to secure a lower bid to get that. It's going to be grass turf, so it'll kind of go with the concept of the playground itself, and it'll taper off at the edge down to the flat surface. So it's going to go underneath the rock and tree stump area. So it'll be a safe place for the kids to climb on the rock and the tree stump and go across the little rope climb thing. So it's necessary, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It's a necessary addition for that fall height protection. So these are the items that we're looking to purchase right now. We think we have most everything covered in this. I'm not saying that we won't come back with something else, but I think that this is a great start, and we are well on our way to hopefully moving into the facility as soon as we get some flooring laid in there. So that's where we're at. Does anybody have any questions on any of the equipment that we're looking at here?
Move to approve option 1.
Brian, Dane? Discussion?
Thanks for the good research and your diligence.
Yep, you're very welcome. We did pretty good on some of this pricing, actually, so it turned out pretty good. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No further discussion, council, please vote. It is approved. Takes us to G, resolution number 9, 2023-2024. Resolution approving amended development agreement with AK System Solutions LLC, authorizing annual appropriation tax increment payments and pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement.
Move to approve.
Second.
Ryan, Jason. I'll just say good work on Jordan for getting us an update on this. Hopefully it gets finalized this time. Their discussion? None, council, please vote. It is approved. Takes us to new business A, approved 5-day special class C retail alcohol license effective August 25th to 29th renovated J.C.'s to host an outdoor service area at Story County Fairgrounds at 220 H Avenue on Friday, August 25th, truck pull, Saturday, August 26th, 2023, live band during Lincoln Highway Days.
Move to approve.
Second.
Dane. Other discussion? None, council, please vote. Approved, takes us to B, approved purchase of bunker gear for fire department.
Good evening. I'll take any questions you have. I think the biggest point across here is we're not getting the cheapest, but we're not getting the most expensive gear. There's kind of a blend between the right thermal rating and the right protection rating. And so we've tested this Fire Dex gear and we're pretty convinced that that's the way our folks would like to go.
Improve option 1.
Second.
Barb, Dane. Discussion, council, please vote. Approved, takes us to C, approved purchase of a cardiac monitor for the fire department.
Thank you. Thanks for your approval on the bunker gear. As you can see, the price of a cardiac monitor is about $56,000. We are getting the version of a cardiac monitor that doesn't transmit. We don't do patient transfers or transmit by ambulance, so we have no need to transmit anything to a hospital. So that in itself saves. So we're kind of getting, I wouldn't call it a plain Jane model, but the LifePak 15 that is not meant for critical care transport. So it's needed for our paramedic program and our BLS providers. But I think it's a little common sense that we don't really need all the bells and whistles on a cardiac monitor when we're not transporting.
We'll move to approve option 1.
Second.
Dane and Sandy, any discussion? You can use it for Hawkeye game days, Ray. Track your heart rate.
We'll see how this year goes.
Okay, council, please vote. And that is approved.
Thank you all.
Takes us to D, approved purchase of vehicle for police department.
Hello. As you see in the action form, there's several different vehicle options by the state bid contract. Station's going with the Tahoe to kind of keep the trend of what we've done the last 2 years. And as I talked about last year, I think with the increasing prices of vehicles, really becomes kind of a wash between the Explorers or the Tahoe, and then all the supporting factors for why Tahoes in the long run would be more effective. So answer any questions you guys have.
Move to approve option 1.
Jason, Barb? No discussion, council?
Well, I have
Oh,
a question.
Okay,
Are we within our range of approving a higher bid? Because, you know, there's rules we have to follow. Are we? I'm doing the math.
Is it the
right.
5%?
I'm doing it right now. Sorry, Chris. 7%. We gonna get ourselves in trouble?
So this isn't a state code requirement, right? It's not a public infrastructure project. It's your own policy, right? So I think what you probably want to discuss is what's going to be the rationale for why you're going to deviate from the policy that you have. I know that there have been instances in the past where the council has made the decision to deviate. And so I think just for the record, it's a great question and you should, openly discuss what the rationale is in this case for going outside of that 5% purchasing policy for your contract.
Okay.
City's contract policy.
And one thing I will remind you on, without actually having the vehicles at the end of their life for trade-in value, NADA value, we're going to get anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 more on a Tahoe and trade-in when the life of it is expired. So then that would cut that cost. It's kind of one of the big rationales I have for moving to them.
Inconsistency, you said too.
Mhm.
Also, the cheaper Ford is not even available right now. Ordering's been closed for that.
So you couldn't even get it if you wanted to.
Divers isn't available either.
Number 3, purchase 22.
It'd be the same-
Ordering
same-
cut off as closed, no
same money.
models available.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I'm perfectly okay with that.
Actually,
I just want to
$10
make sure
more.
we're not getting ourselves.
I'm
in trouble.
giving you your rationale.
Yep. I'm good. That answers our question. Well, answers Aaron's question. I was probably okay with it, but I didn't do the
I know
math,
you
so
were.
I got a better ask. But okay. Asked and answered.
Nothing else? Council, please vote. It is approved. Which takes us to E, approve request for proposals for administration architectural services for the CDBG revitalizing downtown facade grant program and authorizing publication.
Move to approve.
Second. Ryan, Steve,
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
I see on both, there's the evaluation criteria for both of these requests. And they have a different value. So like what's first? Experience with the state's CDBG program for one, and qualifications necessary to complete the project for the other. But can you tell me more about what the rubric actually is? Like what specific things will the readers of the grants be looking for under these categories? And how will they be scored? In terms of how would someone's dossier describe their experience with states?
So like,
program?
I'll give you an example for Region 12. So there's several groups that will basically administer the grant, submit the grant for us. And so Region 12, that's one group that we'd probably send it out to, and they have a lot of experience with CDBG. So one of the things for experience with the state CDBG program is probably how many times that they have applied for that and how successful have they been with it for it. That would fall into the previous work performance as well. And then the capacity would be if they actually have the staff or the personnel to actually complete the project.
So how would they demonstrate that? That's like, how would they demonstrate that in an application?
Probably, I would assume by showing,
Resumes and,
resumes showing their previous applications, the success of the applications.
because I can appreciate that we need different things for for each of these, but I was just, what was underneath? Because some of this doesn't, it's not my purview. I don't know what some of this stuff means. So that's helpful.
anything else? Seeing none, council, please vote. And that is approved, which takes us to report, starting with city administrator.
All right, had several meetings pertaining to different aspects of all of our projects, some of the challenges that we had. But for the discussion earlier, we did receive a quote and an estimate, a concept for basically installing all drain lines for each building over in that area. So it would be Kelly Properties, Tom Richards, Meyer Chiropractic, and Ben, your building as well. So we received that today. And Matt Runge is planning on getting in on Wednesday and working on those, starting all of that. So I know last council meeting, we told you 2 weeks, and that was probably a little bit too soon because we didn't have all of the information back, what was all needed, the estimates and everything. But Matt has confirmed with Ryan, I believe Ryan and me, that he is able to get in on Wednesday or middle of this week for it. And as far as, who's paying for it, that's something that we're still deciding and discussing, because in our in our plans, it did not necessarily specify. We didn't actually get the storm surveyed, and it's the responsibility of the contractor to install when encountered. Whether or not they encountered it is kind of where we're at.
Yep, that's a helpful piece of information, I think.
That is very, yeah, it came at, I believe it was 63,000, and that's give or take about $3,000, depending on which option that we choose, because there's 4 options available. I told Matt that I was going to suggest doing all buildings while we're there, because if we have to do one saw cut and have to come back in, it's gonna end up costing us more money for mobilization, labor, things like that. So figure we might as well get everything taken care of, because when Ryan took me back there last week, I did notice that there was quite a bit of, I guess, damage from the exterior from all the water that was bubbling up. So I did also go down in Jeremy Myers building as well and saw that. So it's something that we need to get fixed now rather than deal with it later on. Did you say Tom was putting concrete on your portion? We are putting concrete back on the alley side of things, yes.
Right. Soon to do mine, if they're gonna take off.
You don't, okay.
No, I'm asking, I assume they won't be. They have to take my concrete out. That part of their bid to replace.
I will have to look what they put in as they put in. I don't know the exact amount, and I don't have the actual quote in front of me, but I don't know exactly how much they called for when it came for concrete, but we can adjust that if you want. Do you want concrete or do you not want it back?
Taking it out.
I think Andy's assuming that they'll put it back like it is today. So I think that's something that you and Ryan can talk to Matt about to make sure that.
Well,
happens.
if we remove it, we'll put the concrete back. If that's what you're asking, we plan on doing that, yeah.
What's On-Track's stance on this situation
Um,
as of now?
I haven't talked to him about Ben's situation. I did talk to him about Andy's, and he said that they weren't able to locate it. But I don't know if that's because it was, what'd you say? It was 4 feet in the
4
ground
inches.
or four? What is,
4 inches below ground.
During the project or since the last meeting?
I believe the project.
Some of it will just be, I think, Brandon going out there and the engineers too, because how you can,
I think they located it when a couple weeks ago when you showed it to them, right? No? Oh, okay. Oh, you located it. Okay. Okay.
Soon. Open because it's still one rock, it's exposed.
and obviously I'm not a contractor, but to miss one seems like maybe an oops, but to miss that many. Especially when the plans say that they're supposed to connect them when they're encountered. Well, I think at some point you would encounter one of them in there. I think that'll still stand that the engineers and our legal advisor work together.
What is the stance on it? I talked to Brett a little bit more. We've flooded twice since the last. I'm working, trying to.
Just for council's background, what I shared with Andy is what I heard from all of you is we need numbers of what the damages are, and then we would look at those. So to track expenses and what it takes to fix that, and that would go for any of the buildings that are affected. We'd need to know the cost to repair damages. So that way you can all make a determination on that. If there's a different opinion, now's the time to have that.
Will be the exception if we
Bank was no questions asked. They were longer for the theater. State Bank was $30,000.
They all need to be treated the same, in my opinion. I don't know if those came to council or if they were just fixed because the project was ongoing at the time and it was maybe a change order that was happened in the middle of the project.
I'd have to look into that, not being here.
Yeah. Or maybe, yeah, or if it was their insurance, I'm not sure, but I know their problems happened during the project, and so I don't think it made it for the council to have to work on.
I don't recall us doing anything with state banks.
Insurance, it was happening overnight.
Line. They hit a line when they were digging, and that's what water flooded the basement. That's
Was that when we had to call?
That's what I
Service Ma-
remember.
Yeah, that when we had to call Service Master and they came and cleaned it out. Yeah.
State Bank, yeah.
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 What happened with State Bank was
Well, that's done.
they tried to. Yeah, so they put water main through. Later on, they cracked a water main compactor. Had a compaction, so they utilized it over port through the pit. It'll. Other than it was. Deviated from. Keep everywhere else, but saving stuff, they had a hole through, they didn't have horizontal board, so they. On that building, they cracked the water. I couldn't fit, so.
Go clear on this.
Expenses.
Okay, so staff will work with the building owners and with our engineer and attorney. Have more for us. Okay. Any reports?
Yeah, so we have the Nevada Housing Rehabilitation Program guidelines that was in front of you. There's some things I need to include on there, which would be the Story County Housing Trust fund. I want to be able to utilize that, but basically this allows people to go after money to help fix a range of things, your windows, foundation, and it allows the Story County Trust Foundation to match as well as the city to match it with those funds as well. But this was something that our housing committee has been working on. It's one of the 2040 plans that we set out to achieve. So we're working on this and just finalizing some things. And if you guys have any questions, suggestions, please let me know. That way I can update that and then I'll get it updated and resent out. And then the other thing is we purchased some land a couple months ago for water expansion, well water expansion for in the future. And we need to figure out what we're planning on doing with that land. It is in CRP right now, and they just changed something along the lines of now we're not able to qualify for that CRP. We would be able to transfer that over to someone else. And what I mean by that is someone would be farming that land and then they would accept 100% of those funds. Or we can terminate the lease and then we can figure out what we want to do. Something in the past, we've allowed people to bale it. We could use it for grazing, several things, but basically, we just need to make a decision on getting it out of the CRP because the former owner and tenant were in that CRP program.
So
And
can you give us the options?
yeah, so the three options that she provided were the city could go on the contract at 100% share, knowing that you would receive no payments. So this would be if a tenant was farming it. You'd be required to maintain the cover according to the regulations. making sure there are no weeds or trees on it, which also includes burning or disking all acres in 2025 at our expense. Option 2, if you plan to have a tenant on this farm and they will be managing the CRP acres, doing the labor, et cetera, they could receive 100% of the payment and the city would just sign as 0% landowner. Same maintenance requires apply. And then the third option, finally, as stated above, we could terminate this contract with funds of all prior monies received required. This includes annual rental payments, cost share, interest, and liquidated damages. Estimated refund is 14,000. I believe in our contract, we are protected against that. So it would be on the former landowner.
Can you email that to us,
Yes,
please?
yep, I will.
And then what is it, something we'll have to put on the agenda in the future here in the next couple of meetings to get it figured out?
Yep.
Yeah.
There a deadline by which?
No, we're technically in the cycle. So basically we're in a contract until 2031. So we just have to terminate the contract sooner rather than later, so we don't get charged another year, basically.
Thanks for Jordan. And moving on from my reports, in the interest of time, there's not anything that you don't really know about. The biggest update would be we continue to work with Story County Medical Center to help them with that property title issue, and the county has it on their agenda, so should be moving towards resolution to get that project moving. And then they did get awarded, which don't want to steal Brenda's thunder, but they got awarded their state credits, so that was the big hurdle they needed to clear too. Council updates. Back to staff.
Just a couple things real quick. Again, thank you tonight for voting for the bunker gear and cardiac monitor. We will be assisting the truck pull with fire protection and the rodeo with our staff, first responders for Lincoln Highway Days as we have in the past. Encourage you all to come out for pork roast sandwiches after the parade. It'll be good. And then, as you know, last night we had a garage fire. Just a couple of facts. We had a 5-minute response. It was a real quick knockdown, and the building's still standing, but it had pretty significant charring inside. So it's an accidental fire, and we spent the better part of the day kind of digging it out. But overall, nobody got hurt. It was a quick knockdown. Thank you.
Thing, HR Green, do you have any updates? Brenda?
Yes, the mayor stole my thunder, so.
I realized that
So-
the sentence is halfway out of my mouth,
What was that?
but I realized that when the sentence is already halfway out of my mouth, you might want to share that.
So, on Friday, the governor announced 51 housing awards in the state of Iowa that had applied for workforce housing tax credit. Actually, there was, less than half of the applications got funded this go around. The program continues to be very popular, but the Nevada project that we've all been working on and taking action on as it relates back to 1942. And so we've had the county and the hospital and our offices and the city all working to bring this along. So an important box got checked on Friday. So it's one of the largest awards given by the state. It'll create 60 units. Yeah, so the total award was $1 million. So fun to have those dollars coming here and bring us a step closer to that project becoming a reality. So that was my official NEDC news. I'm going to pass some things off to Karen before I leave tonight. We do have the agreements for the new round of funding, Erin, on your form. So we got those all done and those funds have all been distributed, and we're continuing to get a wrap up on the funds that we gave out during the last fiscal year. And if you can help get the word out, We've got the other round of funding for the up to the last 16,000. Those applications are due at the end of the month. So any questions for me? Good. Thanks for your continued support.
Anything more from Rhonda back there?
Well, thank you for the approval. Today you probably saw something on Facebook. We started advertising it a little bit last week, but we did an active shooter drill at the school, middle school. They were really gracious to let us have access, and it's a good introduction to our newer staff as far as the location, the geography of the school. So it was really successful. I started firefighter 1 about 2 weeks ago. That's one of the certifications needed for the position. So I'm actively in that. I should finish by middle of October. We're still in the hiring process. We have about 2 weeks left until applications close. So if you know anybody who's interested, everything's on our Facebook page or the website. And then we are getting ready for Lincoln Highway Days. Hasn't been anything brought up to tonight about it really, but there's a lot of things going on between Friday and Saturday. Lincoln Highway Days gets busier each year, so more parts moving for us and more requirements and obligations for that. So we're working on that. That's all I have.
Chris, can you just say something about the presence of officers related to the rodeo, but not what's the difference? I'm not with the alcohol and the tractor pull, like on the letter that came from you to Jeremy and the folks. It says that they had to have 2 officers at the beer garden for the rodeo, but there's no officers required for the beer sales locations or the truck and tractor pull on Friday night.
So
What's the difference in those settings?
the 2 officers will be at the beer garden with the live music. It's a condensed smaller location with the focus on alcohol consumption and dancing. The rodeo doesn't have officers. The truck tractor pull won't have officers as well. The main focus of those events, of course, being the rodeo or the truck and tractor pull, and supplementary would be the alcohol consumption.
Curious as how that decision is made, and I just was curious. So it's the live music and
The live music, it's a very smaller footprint, and one of the main focuses it would be the consumption at the time. So.
Thank you.
Good evening. I handed out kind of an overview map of the areas affected, just so you could get a visual on it, and thank you for going with this. As far as what Louis had to ask about S14, we've obviously, it's a condensed area. We've run into a ton of stormwater because that's where the entire northern part of Nevada runs to. So it's a 36 and a 72-inch line that runs there with a bunch of 18s and things like that. The normal thing once upon a time was just to abandon stuff and leave it. So unfortunately, we found all of it during this construction. So fantastic job by Manats for finding all of it. They've done a great job. They're undefeated thus far. I don't think there's a single line that they haven't found. So good on them. As far as the water shut off on West End, that was in reference to moving the hydrant out of the, hold on, I gotta do. It'll be the southwest to the northwest part of N and S14, and that's just for it to be able to be utilized easier instead of down in the ditch and going through that embankment area. So that's why the water was shut off, and you know, the water department did a great job of getting notes out and stuff well within the 24-hour notice that is required. So that's all I got for you, unless you guys have any questions. Perfect, thank you.
Karen.
You have my report. Just a reminder, the election is this year, and first date to file petition and affidavit is August 28th, which is coming right up. So, seems weird. And we're just getting ready for the audit and getting the documents all ready.
Brandon,
Unless there's questions.
council, anything before we adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Jason, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And we are adjourned.
Mayor.